will now shift to Jacksonville at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena on Wednesday for puck drop at 7. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp split the series with the Memphis Redbirds this past weekend after defeating the Redbirds in extra innings yesterday, with Shrimp Troy Johnston driving in the winning run in the top of the 10th. Following an off day today, the Shrimp will get back at home at the VyStar Ballpark, hosting the Gwinnett Stripers for a 6-game series starting tomorrow afternoon at 11:05. The Florida Gators baseball team secured their second SEC Series win after defeating the Mississippi State this past weekend, winning the first 2 games of the series, and will now return home to host Georgia Southern tomorrow night at the Condren Family Ballpark at 6. It's 78 degrees at 9:57. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Trevor fires for the back of the end zone, and that ball is going to be caught for the touchdown by Brian Thomas Jr. What a throw and catch. He tiptoed along the end line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Fires deep downfield. Got a man. It's Brian Thomas Jr. 50 in the Colts territory. 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown, Brian Thomas Jr. Just went 85 yards.
He's a playmaker. That's what stands out to me. It's just not one thing. We all know he's fast. I can't really point to his releases. Can't really point to how he comes out of his routes. He just makes plays.
Looking, steps up, fires to the back of the end zone. Brian Thomas Jr. Did he double catch it? Yes, it is. Touchdown. He bobbled it, but hung on. Brian Thomas Jr. has the score, and Jacksonville is taking the lead.
Yeah, he's only going to get better once he masters his craft as far as his stance off the line and as far as come off the ball. You'll see in games to come, he'll get better, and even next year, he's going to be even that much better than he is right now. Right now, he's just getting his feet wet and showing us what he can do. So I'm looking for this guy to be a big-time playmaker for us in the years to come, and I'm glad to have him part of the Jaguars.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, it's finally here, folks. Draft week is upon us for 2025. Welcome in to Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. Tony is resplendent in teal this morning. Good morning, Tony Smith.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Are you feeling any coalescing of your opinion on where the Jags are going to go? Are you still open-minded about it? Have certain things left your mind as possibilities? Where are you at on the Jags?
I feel it's less and less likely that an offensive lineman's in play in my mind at 5.
Okay.
I have kind of limited in my head at this point to Genty Graham. That's where I think the discussion is being had. And if Genty's there right now, my guess would be that's the direction they go. But it's a slight lean. It's not some, stamp it, kind of thing at this point in time, even if he's there at 5, that's the direction they're going to go. But that's how I'm feeling about it at this point.
Yeah, let me address this. And good morning, Dylan Denmark, let me say.
What's up, Mike?
Right off the bat. How are you? Everything good?
I'm great. Had a great Easter egg hunt yesterday.
Did you?
Yep.
Did you come away with the, what do you?
$54.
Wow.
Yeah, I got 3 gold eggs, so.
Who put on, what's in the gold eggs? $10 bill?
It was like some had 20, some had 10, some had 5.
Who puts on this Easter egg hunt?
My aunt.
Can I get invited?
We're on the west side.
I'll drive.
All right.
I'll drive over. I'll be damn sure involved in that thing. Now, if you got $1 in your egg,
yeah.
When we did it when we were kids, that was a big deal. Most of them had dimes and quarters in their tone. A lot of change going around back in the day. Wow, that is quite the haul for Dylan Denmark, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be buying lunch tomorrow for Jaguars Today after the show. I think, why don't we make this today's 10-10 take? Let's start this thing off early today. Fire that bad boy up, Dylan.
10-10
take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
I saw Tom McManus tweet something out that I've seen others have an opinion on and state it the same way. And here's why I'm going to tell you why I disagree with what Tom said. Tom, within the last 30 minutes or so, tweeted out, I think the Genty talk is a smokescreen. Well, to me, a smokescreen is something that's done to obscure your true intention, right? Is the Jeanty talk coming from the organization? Has any single person out there gone, I think that the Jags are leaning towards Jeanty. I've heard they like Jeanty. It's always been like, in the last couple weeks, as it's become more of a talking point, well, wait a minute. Why not the Jags for Jeanty for a lot of the same reasons that the Raiders would? Or why not the Patriots? I don't think the Jags are putting breadcrumbs out there, Tony. That's the whole purpose of their not having top 30 visits. It'd be one thing if they brought in Ashton Jeanty and rolled out the red carpet. I think they're being tight-lipped about what their plans are, period. Now, you know, I think they're being truthful that, hey, we do want to build through the line of scrimmage. That doesn't mean you have to take one with the 5th pick in the draft. I just, you know, the term smokescreen to me, and maybe it's just a matter of semantics, and maybe it turns out that there's nothing substantive to all the Ashton Jeanty talk, but I don't think it's being generated by someone in the Jags organization leaking out, hey, we just started talking a few weeks ago about it. Like, why not Jeanty? If he is this, if everyone ranks him as a top 3 to 5 player, and we have the 5th pick in the draft, he would seem to be a value when the Jags are there. Could they use him? Do they have ETN? We understand all the pluses and minuses of it. But I've yet to hear a single person, Schefter, McShay or Jeremiah or any of these guys say that I've got a source that said the Jags are really high on Ashton Jeanty. Have you heard something like that?
No, I mean, even in what Schefter wrote up and put out this morning, he said, hey, it was really nice for Cohen to have Mike Evans as a wide receiver there in Tampa. Basically, Ted McMillan is compared to him. Would that make sense for the Jags at 5? I think everyone, at least at some point in all these articles, they say Jags seem like a real wild card.
Yes.
Right? Like, we really have no idea what they're thinking or what direction they're going to be going. I keep the Jeanty thing attached to the Jags in my head because of part of exactly what you just said. Who else are they supposed to take? Right? Like, I don't know how highly they grade any of the offensive linemen. I don't know how highly they grade Mason Graham.
I don't know how highly they grade Jeanty,
but
for that matter.
But the whole world has him as a top 3 or 4 prospect in this draft.
Yes,
right?
outside of the team themselves.
Right, like the whole world has him locked into that kind of prospect in this draft, which if you're drafting 5th in a draft where 2 of those guys we know they're coming off the board. Tennessee seems locked in at quarterback. At this point, it was interesting, again, reading the Schefter deal this morning, that the teams at 2 and 3 at least have been talking with Tennessee about trying to get to 1, and there's been no movement, it would appear, in that regard to this point in time, with Cleveland and the Giants trying to get to 1 to come get Cam Ward. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of interest in another quarterback, at that 2nd and 3rd spot, at least to this point. Now, maybe the Giants are shadowing some of their interest in Sanders. It's a possibility, but that would be, throwing up the smoke screen kind of thing. Jags aren't putting up any smoke screens. No one has any idea.
I don't think they're tipping their people are trying to project their own thoughts on them. And Tom may be right that Jeanty to the Jags is not a strong possibility or not a realistic one or not the one that ends up being. But I don't think it's a smokescreen. I mean, a smokescreen is something you yourself generate to obscure the interest in that player or another player, what your true intentions are. I just think they're being tight-lipped.
Again, I don't think there's been anything to give you any kind of idea that the Jags are specifically interested in Jeanty. But if they were doing it, it would be to try to get the teams that have had Jeanty in for a visit, that it has been the Raiders and the Cowboys and the Bears. Okay, we got to get to 4.
Right, either get to 4 and push another guy down or do business with the team that might otherwise be considering the player that you want.
Like that would be the kind of smokescreen thing, but there's been nothing that actually attaches the Jaguars to Jeanty except, well, what else are they supposed to do? It's the Prisco thing. Right, when we talked to him last week, and he's like, well, what would y'all do?
Right, like this guy, that guy. Here's the thing I keep hearing about Mason Graham. Well, he's safe. He's a double. Is that way you want to start your draft history with this organization? If you're James Gladstone, first pick ever, I'm going to go the safe route, right? He agreed. This is a regime-defining pick in many ways. Are we going to define this regime by saying we're afraid to take somebody with higher upside because we think Mason Graham's a solid double? I hear that all the time as if that's a good thing. I don't want a double at 5. I'm sorry. I don't. Now, do I want a double in the end result more than I want a strikeout? Sure, to continue the baseball analogy. But if you do enough of your own evaluation, if you think the guy hitting a double is the best possible player there, fine. But if you think this other guy's a triple or a home run, you got to trust your own evaluation. I don't think they're going to be shrinking violets and just go, let me get something safe in here so we don't screw this up. Is that the kind of the level you're going to set for your new regime?
No, but outside of Genty, right? Like, what other pick wouldn't be safe? That they would actually, you think an offensive lineman wouldn't be safe?
Well,
right?
What about Jalen Walker? Would that be safe?
Potentially. Potentially.
I don't know what is safe.
What I'm saying is there's not even a whole lot of names that go against that argument for where the Jags are at 5. Like, if you think Genty and Walker are the two guys, that's fine.
And I'm not saying that's necessarily the case. I'm just saying that the mindset of them going, you know what? We think these other guys have greater potential, but we're going to play this safe here because we don't want to screw up. Yeah. I don't think that's the mind frame. I think they're more young and brash than that.
I don't think that would be their reasoning for taking Graham. I think that's the reasoning from outside the building for I think we are at the point in the draft process with Mason Graham where everyone is trying to find every reason in the world for him to not be the pick at 5. Right? And I think safe, double, these are the kind of things that it's been circled now with Mason Graham. I don't believe that.
I think if they take him, they think he's the best player available to them at 5.
And it's why he's still as high on my list as he is. I think he would be the best player available to him at 5 if Genty's off the board.
Right.
But I am very much in that camp. I like Jalen Walker, but I like Graham more.
No, I understand. And look, we don't know how they feel. My point being, I think if they take Mason Graham, it's because they think he can be a superlative player. Like, he could be it's not like, all right, he's going to be okay. We don't have to worry about him. We'll take our chances later on in the draft. I'm not saying you swing for a guy that's rated to go 25th in the draft right now and you reach for him at 5.
That's not what they would do.
But my point being that all this talk about, this is safe, the Jags don't want to screw this first pick up. I don't think they hired these guys so they can sit here and twiddle their thumbs and be safe, man. This is a bold new, hiring process, a new regime. They've got a chance to put their stamp on this thing. And again, if they take Mason Graham, fine. But it's not because, I don't think they're going to go into this thing timid. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's settling. Let's not settle with the 5th pick. Take the guy you think is going to be the star for your team and fills at the same time a need that you have. I mean, you have to address need to some degree when you talk about the NFL draft. Mm-hmm. You're not going to take a quarterback. If there was a quarterback worthy of going 5th overall, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Jags would not be taking that guy. It would just be crazy to do that. Although I did hear, gosh, where did I hear it? Somebody speculating about the Jaguars being a dark horse for Shedeur Sanders at 5. I think it was somebody on ESPN said this. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Now you want to talk about a smokescreen.
And Trayvon's available for a 3rd.
Sure. I mean, that would be the ultimate smokescreen. Oh, yeah, we're here. We took the job basically because we think Trevor Lawrence is championship-level quarterback. We're excited to build this team around Trevor Lawrence and then draft Shedeur Sanders at 5.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That is honestly like the last. I think they take Ted McMillan. I think they take Tyler Warren. I think they take anybody over a quarterback.
Was it the same guy who called Shedeur Sanders an Uber athlete this weekend?
Oh, my gosh.
I saw that somewhere.
You see that one, Dylan?
No, what's that mean?
Oh, I don't know. I guess.
You drive around. Then
some people think it means because he's a black quarterback that he must be an Uber. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Shedeur Sanders is as glued to the pocket as just about any quarterback. Now, he made some scrambling plays in college when his protection broke down, but he is not expected to be that kind of quarterback in the National Football League. He's got to win from the pocket.
That's what he is.
And he'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, it's very strange. We get into this type of season. And
paralysis by the analysis.
Over-analysis, absolutely. All right, so today it's pretty simple, right? Thursday, we'll ask you who you think the pick will be, right? Tomorrow, top 5 is going to be top 5 players you'd like to see the Jags draft. They could be 5 options for number 5. Could be however you want to spread it out. Maybe some late-round sleepers, whatever. Your top 5 guys. Wednesday, there'll be no question. We're doing the media mock draft on Wednesday. So today, we're asking you, who's the player that you would most want the Jaguars to select with the 5th pick, assuming they can't trade back, and assuming Hunter and Carter are off the board.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I say we all, a lot of us would like Travis Hunter there. Probably a lot of people would like Abdul Carter there. Your options in the poll today are these: Mason Graham, Best available offensive line. If you want to read that as they're going to have all the linemen available, that's fine, right? Mm-hmm. Like, don't we can't guess. I mean, you might want them to take Mason Graham. If you think Will Campbell's the best, presume Will Campbell will be there at 5. You could say, there's no way he's getting past the Patriots. Sure there is. Patriots might take Genty. Yep. Patriots could do anything. We don't know.
We'll talk to someone who has them drafting Genty later today.
As a matter of fact, that's right. Chad Ryder coming up in about 15 minutes. Ashton Genty is an option here, or somebody else. So it's Graham, O-line, Genty, or any other player. Could be Ted McMillan. Could be Tyler Warren. Could be Jalen Walker. Could be Jahdae Barron. Have had him mentioned by a couple of people. Could be Will Johnson. Could be anybody that doesn't fit those previous 3 options. Graham, Genty, or best O-lineman. So if he's not an O-lineman, Mason Graham or Ashton Genty, and you want him to be drafted by the Jags, you would pick option D, and only 5% of people are going that way right now, Tone. And again, highly unscientific. I get it, but, all we can do is throw it out there and let you click and weigh in. But right now, Ashton Genty getting a lot of love from Jaguar Nation. So there's a lot of intel, as you mentioned, that Adam Schefter's putting out. Got a lot of new 7-round mocks. Everybody starts to feel that they're getting better information as the draft draws near. So we'll go through a lot of that today. Chad Ryder from NFL.com will stop by to discuss what he did in his 7-round mock. Not the only fresh 7-round mock out there, by the way. There's one over at ESPN that came out today. I think Jordan Reed put it out, so we'll dig into that a little bit. I think I like his better than I like Ryder's for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just being honest with you, but we'll break it down with Chad coming up. If you want to get in today and talk draft, hopefully, that's about all we'll be talking about today. 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat and post your thoughts, questions, and whatnot there as well, or on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark. It has begun. Denmark went to the St. Augustine Shores for the first time in his life this weekend. How would you rate the experience, Denmark?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
9 out of 10, yeah.
Very nice. That's the home course.
It also helps when you play better.
Well, it does. You played well. I think you played better on the front than you did the back.
100%.
I feel like for a young guy, you shouldn't fade that way around the 14th hole. But.
Yeah, well, it was weird. I had a good driving range, and I kind of took that to the front 9, and then
You told me you had maybe the best range session you ever had.
Yeah, I flushed every ball.
Flushed them all. Flush them, baby. Got to see our new resident down there. That's a big boy. Was I lying about that alligator?
No.
That is a big boy, Tony.
9 feet.
He was a good, right, and he sits. He's a little broad sucker there too, man.
Talking about a gator, by the way.
I don't want to be hearing about anybody calling to have him removed. I like him there at the St. Augustine.
Yeah, he wasn't bothering us. He did not.
He just stood there waiting for somebody to come by, unassuming, and get their leg bitten off. But he was right there, right between the 17th and 18th holes, waiting for us, Tony, to drive on by. Mm-hmm. We took the long way around on that one, but anyway,
she should. Yeah.
Greens are in great shape down there for the record, folks. So they've shrunk them up a little bit, but I'd rather have smaller, good ones than so many people are having problems with their greens right now. All right, so that aside, let's talk draft. Let's get focused in. Graham, Genty, O-line, something else. What are you looking for on Thursday night at Pick 5? We get it. There are 9 other selections. Maybe you're looking for a trade back into the first round as well. We'll talk about some of the options for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Coming up as we get into it here, you're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Start your day, not only your day, how about starting your week off right with Dandy? How about for breakfast, some country sausage biscuits? A perfect twin pack to enjoy or share, for that matter. Each one is 1.5 ounce country sausage patty from Swaggerty. Simply the best tasting sausage in the US of A. Served on a Pillsbury flaky biscuit, exactly 60 seconds to good. Don't forget a little mustard, or you can season it the way you see fit. But that's just one of the dozens of breakfast items that Dandy offers, and one of the dozens, maybe scores of items that they offer overall in terms of sandwiches, subs, full line of those, anything you want for lunch, dinner, on the go. You want breakfast any time of day. You want a quick pick-me-up like a protein pack or a fruit cup. They got veggie trays. They have gourmet salads, breakfast sliders, light lunchtime wraps, a little something for everybody. Dandy's at Amon Duval, so when you're hungry, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy. Do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. When you want breaking sports news, tune in to 1010XL.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Or any of our social channels at 1010XL.
Satisfied?
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
Attention Florida homeowners, for 1 month only. Save big with Renewal by Anderson. Get $300 off every window and $825 off all patio doors. Plus, call now and ask about our brand new Ensemble entry door system. But hurry, this limited time offer won't last. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com today to schedule your free design consultation. That's bestwindowsflorida.com. Renewal by Anderson, your trusted window and door experts. Superior products, exceptional service. License number CGC 1527613.
Jeff Prosser here for Lloyd's Heating and Air. Need a leader for commercial, retail, multifamily, or hospitality projects? Or top-tier residential service? No gimmicks, no mascots, just real expertise and hard work. As your trusted statewide mechanical partner and local family-owned team, Lloyd's is the name Northeast Florida counts on. Visit Lloyd'sHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
Dreamfinders Homes, Monday on Jaguars Today.
Gun charges, drug charges. I'm Attorney Malcolm Anthony, and I specialize in handling these types of felony cases. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Charles.
6.
Oh, so close. Betty for the steal.
What about the bank that helps you reach your financial goals? Synovus.
Let's see, judges. Yes, looks like we have a winner.
That's a number?
Sorry, Charlie. Remember, a solid financial future doesn't happen by chance. Talk with Synovus about your potential today.
Brought to you by Synovus Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. The number was 4.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
It's here. Beard's Diamonds' first ever massive sale on all diamond stud earrings and all tennis bracelets. Now through Sunday at 4 p.m. Save 20%, 30%, even 40%. Beautiful diamond stud earrings and gorgeous diamond tennis bracelets. Perfect for any occasion. Take advantage of huge markdowns. Best prices ever. Corporate-owned big box stores could never offer this extreme value, but locally owned Beards can. And it's happening now through Sunday. Up to 40% off. Beards Diamonds, St. John's Town Center. Shop local, shop Beards.
I'm Liz Gruby, the Jacksonville Business Journal's events director, and on May 15th, we're shining a spotlight on young professionals who are boldly leading the way in business and making our major impact in our community. I'd love for you to join us for our 40 Under 40 Awards as we celebrate these up-and-comers and their achievements. Don't miss this inspiring afternoon of networking and celebration. Tickets are going fast. You have to get them before May 6th. And for more information and tickets, visit jbjevents.com.
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida. Be a big.
Travis Hunter is an exciting two-way player whose world-class athleticism and ball skills help him shine on both sides of the field. Hunter is an instinctive, natural football player with a feel for making the biggest plays at the biggest time. Jacksonville would need to make a decision on where and how to play Hunter if they drafted him with the 5th pick, but he's capable of making a good number of winning plays as a future star, no matter the choice.
Need a fast casual option that's healthy, fresh, and delicious? Choose the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill. Gyros, salads, hummus, and more made completely fresh right as you order. Off 210 and St. John's Parkway. The Great Greek Mediterranean Grill.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, someone suggested on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 1010 take, should Dylan Denmark still participate in Easter egg hunts at his age?
Come on, man.
Tender age of 27. I say hell yes. If they're putting 10s and 20s in those eggs, Dylan, I'm telling you, man.
There were $150 out in the yard.
150. How many people were involved?
About 10.
10, and you came away with how much?
54.
54. You got a third of the money.
Yeah.
That's really good,
And I
man.
should have got a little bit more, but I didn't.
Yeah, you're saying you were shaking the one
tree
tree and the egg didn't fall out, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a
I
tough
shook
break.
all the branches around it, but I didn't strike the core of the tree.
And were you the youngest in the group? Older?
I was middle.
Middle.
Ages were, the youngest was 20, oldest was about 33.
Okay, you got to be old enough to have that man strength to shake the tree to get the egg to fall out, but you got to be young enough to be able to sprint around. And
I got to start benching 185 or something.
Well, next year, we'll have our own combine.
I'll keep you updated.
We did a producer's combine years ago. It was quite a rousing success. Maybe we could pit Dylan and Hacker in a race around the building, Tone. I don't know.
Maybe.
Bring Beef back for an anniversary go-round. Get Donna Murphy in, just like we did in the old days. All right, 641-1010. Let's get to the phone lines here and get started. Find out what's on your mind here on Draft Week, starting with William in Ponte Vedra. William, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How's it going? Good. I don't know if y'all remember a couple of months ago I called in about primetime takeover in Jacksonville with Dion and Shador. I think it's pretty funny how y'all brought up potentially Shador actually coming here. That would be crazy.
No. Actually, we mocked the idea of Shador coming here. We didn't bring up the idea. We mocked the idea that somebody else brought up. Trust me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But either way, I mean, Genty here in Jacksonville, that would just be absolutely insane. I mean, ticket sales getting us up on all over the world watching us. I mean, come on, it can't be better. But other than that, I mean, why not mention the name Jalen Milroe? I'll leave it at that.
All right, you're just ridiculous, man. Why not mention it? Because you're stupid to mention it.
Is he going to transition to wide receiver?
Right. What's he going to? He's not playing quarterback here.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we going to do? Take him with pick 36 and what? What? Run some Wildcat packages with him? I mean, I mean, look, it's fine if you don't like Trevor Lawrence, but if you really think that there's a chance that the Jaguars are going to draft a quarterback that impacts Trevor Lawrence's future in Jacksonville in this go-around, in what's supposed to be a bad quarterback class anyway.
Yeah.
I saw, Tone, somebody had a mock out there. Was either at CBS or might have been the Reed one at ESPN. Shador falling completely out of the first round. Mm-hmm. One quarterback going in the first round of that draft. Now, do I know if that's going to happen? No, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
No.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that somebody would take Jackson Dart over Shador Sanders. I have no idea what teams think about Shador Sanders other than what we read. But the idea of the Jags drafting one, I mean, if you want to troll, that's fine. And as far as Genty goes, look, I'd be excited about Genty. I don't think ticket sales should be at all a thought in James Gladstone's mind. Like, man, this will really pack him in here in Jacksonville.
We'll get a fantasy running back selected in the first round.
Right, or at least the early second, based on where Genty's been going.
Come on.
Although, I wonder if Genty goes, I bet initially his ADP falls a few spots until they figure out what happens with Travis Etienne and how much they're going to commit to him. But I got to believe you don't commit to a guy, whether you're the Bears, the Raiders, the Jaguars, the Patriots, anybody taking Genty in the top 10.
He's the guy.
He's the guy. Now, the Falcons slow-rolled Bijan out a couple of years ago, and
and everyone was screaming, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Right. And it didn't make a ton of sense, at that point in time. But I think most people would agree that Genty is considered a better overall prospect than Bijan Robinson. Yeah. And Bijan was a phenomenal prospect.
Yeah, not quite did you see the guy this weekend that had the floor as LT and the ceiling as Walter Payton?
Come on, the floor is LT. I mean,
what are we doing?
That's just absurd.
If that's the case, why isn't he going one?
Right. If his floor is Tomlinson, if you knew you were getting LaDainian Tomlinson in this draft,
Yeah.
You could, and you're the Titans.
Yeah.
Take him at 1.
Take him at 1.
You're getting LT.
If you're getting a Hall of Fame running back.
Worth more than LT? I doubt it. Now, LT never won big in the NFL, right? I mean,
and neither will Cam Ward if he goes to Tennessee.
Well, that's true as well. Or maybe neither will Tennessee if they draft Cam Ward. Either way you look at it. But we're hoping that that's the case. But Schefter had this to say today in his he does the notes column. This is not one he updates. He puts it out on Monday of draft week, what I'm hearing, and then he keeps the rest to himself for his own little tweets that he'll put out, but he won't put out another column like this. He said many mocks have pegged the Jags to select Mason Graham. As the venerable Lee Corso says, however, not so fast, my friends. James Gladstone has 10 picks to work with, including 4 in the top 90. Might not be that predictable. As one league executive said recently, quote, Jacksonville is a wild card. Watch. And what Schefter interprets that to mean is that Ted McMillan is in play. I watched a video, Todd McShay breaking down, not breaking it down, but discussing the Jags options. Why not Genty there? He said playmaker. And whoever his co-host is, I don't even know who's co-host says one word every 30 minutes on that thing. But McShay just goes on and on. And he goes, playmaker. He goes, who do you think of? He goes, Ted McMillan. He goes, no, well, who else do you think of? He goes, Tyler Warren. He's like, Genty. Why not Genty? Yeah. This is McShay saying it. And do I think that McShay, that someone in the Jags organization is saying, hey, you want to look smart, man? Mention Genty, right? That's why I don't think it's a smokescreen.
No.
I don't think there's any of that happening. But he said, this is McShay. Dylan, I don't think you saw this, right? I think Tony might have heard me play this. Where do you think McShay has Ted McMillan ranked overall? What number player?
18 to 22.
How about 50?
Whoa.
50. And he's like, look, I don't care. I'll die on this hill. You know, I don't have to sit up there for hours at a time and defend this. He just thinks he's overrated, I guess, you know. But he said you can't rule out Jacksonville and Dallas as this is something that people are claiming to hear, that the Jags really like Ted McMillan. That to me would seem like more of a smokescreen. Don't. If you're here, like, and who are you hearing that from? Who are they? Who is James Gladstone or Tony Pacelli or Liam Cohen telling that would go whispering to one of these draft pundits?
That all feels like exactly what Schefter had in the column. Well, he had Mike Evans, and Ted McMillan has been attached as a Mike Evans-type prospect. He coached Evans in Tampa. He saw how much that could help. It's okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think, right. Yeah. Would I mind Ted McMillan on this team? No.
No.
Would I want him would I want him over Ashton Genty? I would not, personally.
Neither would I.
I would rather take a chance on either trading back up into the end of round 1, taking a guy at 36, maybe even grabbing a guy at 70. I'd rather have that combination. Although if you told me Ted McMillan and Dylan Sampson, that's interesting too. You know what I mean? Because I am enamored with Dylan Sampson a little bit. We'll talk with Chad Ryder. We're always enamored with his analysis. He did a 7-round mock, came out Friday. You can go to NFL.com, see it for yourself. We'll read through the selections when we come back, and we'll discuss them with Chad and what he's hearing as the draft now only 3 days out as far as what the Jacksonville Jaguars are likely to do. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It seems to me that what you folks need is a hero.
Yeah?
I happen to be a hero.
And who are you?
1010XL.
We need a professional hero, not an amateur.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. At 1010XL.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal conditions.
Want to support a locally and veteran-owned company? If you need a new AC, we should be your first and only call. Ideal Conditions keeps you cool. Just ask your AC. Call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjax.com.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjax.com.
For over 5 decades, a true American band. This is America. Encore Tour 2025, an unforgettable evening with America. April 23rd, Florida Theater. On sale now at floridatheater.com. America, live in concert. Produced by Outback Presents.
Summer in Jacksonville is coming in hot. Lauren Brooks here. Beat the heat with Turbo Tint. Their window tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays and keeps your ride cool and comfortable. Book today at turbotint.com.
Jaguars Today.
You're settled into a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
When it comes to your utility bill, JEA wants to help you use less so you can save more. We offer a variety of free programs, like efficiency and irrigation assessments that'll teach you ways to conserve energy and water around your home. Our alerts will let you know when your utility usage has reached a set amount, and our rebates can help you save when upgrading to more efficient appliances and equipment. Find even more ways to save at JEA.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
At Performance Painting, we've spent decades protecting commercial properties with durable, long-lasting coatings. And we can bring the same expertise when painting the exterior of your home. With industry-leading materials and a proven process, we extend the life of your home, reducing maintenance costs and preserving its value. Now, for a limited time, save $500 when you hire us to paint your home's exterior. Just mention 1010XL. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. This month, get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet cleaner. You'll get 25% off all cleaning services. That's right, 25% off. Check out 8,000 raving customer reviews if you don't believe me online. Call them, 904-287-5727, or visit their website, ZeroResJacksonville.com. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hacker here, and guess what my scale reads? 195 pounds. I'm shocked seeing that number, but it's there every month. The weight is staying off after dropping 122 pounds. Absolutely life-changing. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Mia here. You know, people typically start and end their day by visiting their closet. So shouldn't that space feel calm, organized, like a little moment of luxury? That's why I chose Closets by Design. They specialize in custom solutions for every lifestyle and budget. Call them this week to schedule your free in-home consultation and get 40% off plus another 15% off and free installation. Don't wait for mom to do it. Call now at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, our man from NFL.com told us last week, Tony, you're going to want to have me on draft week when that 7-round mock draft was it last week? Might have been week before. It's going back, man. It's all blending together. Chad Ryder has done a great job for years at NFL.com and has been good enough to come on our program many times in recent years to discuss the draft. And today we will break down his 7-round mock for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chad, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Oh, it's finally here. Draft week is here. We're all thrilled and can't wait to see what happens this weekend.
Absolutely. Is this the final mock that you're putting out, or will there be any updates to this?
No, this is it. That's why I put in the lead. Look, this is not, my draft is not getting the insiders information at the last minute on Wednesday night to, see what happens. This is just a way to give people an idea what might, the area of where players may go, generally speaking, and try to throw some interesting stuff in there to see if I can hit on a couple of long shots here and there.
Well, you definitely were interested, and you alluded to this the last time you appeared with us. You said, how do you know Genty's going to be available at 5, right? And maybe the Patriots, and might want to check out my mock draft next Friday. And you were a man true to his word, and you gave the New England Patriots Ashton Genty with the 4th pick. How likely of a scenario do you think this is?
I think it's pretty likely. Look, everybody on the planet needs offensive tackles, right? We all know that. But in the end, you have to take the best player on your board if you don't think that one of those offensive tackles is a special player. And as good as Will Campbell and Armand Membu are at offensive tackle, to me, they just don't have top 5 grades. And so I think if you have a chance to take a top 5 player, you take the top 5 player and you find offensive tackles a little bit later in the draft to see what you can get. And they signed Morgan Moses as well, so that helps them, get halfway there in a sense. But Genty's a special player. And look, running backs have gone 4, several times in the past years. Zeke Elliott, Leonard Fournette. You got Saquon Barkley going at 2. And look, don't be shocked if the Giants pass Abdul Carter and take Ashton Genty. Don't be shocked. They're going through some FOMO right now in New York because they saw what Saquon Barkley did with the Eagles this year, helped them win a Super Bowl. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens at 5 if Genty is still on the board.
Who is the best offensive line prospect in this draft?
I think if you want a true left tackle, you might still go Will Campbell. But with his, size issues, and he's not a Joe Thomas type left tackle, elite player, he may end up going a little bit later. Right tackle, Armand Membu could be really, really good at right tackle for years to come, and he may be the first guy off the board, actually.
You've got the Jags taking Mason Graham over the tackles. They couldn't take Genty in your mock. We don't know. We were just talking about this earlier in the show today, Chad, that, people have talked about, Genty's a smokescreen. Well, a smokescreen means that the team is generating smoke to try to obscure their intent. I don't think the Jags are letting any of their intentions known right now. They didn't even take a top 30 visit so as not to tip their hand, at least in part to not tip their hand. So how do you think the fit would work? Like if it were you selecting for Jacksonville, Mason Graham, Ashton Genty, all the needs and the holes that this team has. Who would you prefer for this team?
Well, I think Mason Graham is, if you're talking about plugging a hole, it's Mason Graham all day long. But I think part of the reason that maybe they're not letting their hand show is because they're going to be taking some phone calls if Genty's there. And I haven't projected a top 10 trade yet because they haven't been happening a lot in recent years unless they happen like a month before the draft. But occasionally a team like the Cardinals moved up for Paris Johnson, during the draft. And don't be shocked if Genty's on the board. Everybody in the world knows, I've been projecting for months, that the Raiders would take Genty if he's available at 6. Don't be surprised if the Bears are calling up for that spot at 5. And even the Raiders, again, one spot trades happen once a year almost in the draft. And so if the Raiders think that the Bears are trying to move up, or the Jaguars make them think that they're trying to move up, don't be surprised if maybe a move happens at 5, so the Raiders can get Genty or the Bears can get Genty. So that's part of the reason, there might be some smoke screen or some, we're not quite certain of what they're going to do.
Well, and Tony, the Bears make the most sense, not only for their perceived desire for Genty, but they have the 2 second-rounders because they have Carolina. Yeah. So they're that one team that could just say, all right, here's 41. We still have pick 39. Let's come up from 10 to 5 and get it done like that.
No doubt.
And my bold prediction for this year, which will come out on NFL.com a little bit, is that, that's a possibility. And my bold prediction before the 2017 draft was that the Bears would be one of 2 or 3 teams that would trade into the number 2 spot for Mitch Trubisky. So we've already seen this movie happen once.
All right. I'd love to see 10 to 5.
I would repeat that one every time draft came up. By the way.
No doubt. We've been talking about for a long time now. I don't see how it's going to happen. We've circled Genty as the guy that could make it happen if anyone could in this draft, and that would be that scenario. Why? You mentioned Mason Graham plugging a hole, right? If you're looking to do that kind of thing here in the draft, why is he a good pick if he is the guy at 5?
Oh, well, first of all, he's just one of the top 5 players in the draft. I mean, there's just no question in my mind about that. He plays everywhere along the line of scrimmage, and you can move him. He played outside the tackle at 300 pounds for Michigan and looked pretty good doing it. So you can play him at 5 technique if you're the Jaguars. You can put him on the nose or shading the nose in the middle because he can get you interior pass rush pressure, and he's very adept at getting off blocks and making stops in the run game. He does everything up front. He's a fantastic player, doesn't get nearly enough. I mean, he has through the draft process, but during the course of the year, people didn't really talk about him as a Heisman candidate or, one of these elite players necessarily as much as they should have. So I think he's a fantastic player, and he can be versatile up front. He's just a great player. And sometimes you just have to take the great player if he's available there, especially since they haven't really addressed that position, in free agency.
All right, so you got Mason Graham going to the Jags. Let's look at some of these other picks because they're equally interesting to me. Maxwell Hairston, the Kentucky corner, who, by the way, our buddy Pete Prisco loves, it seems, at 36. Now, we did hear in an interview that one of our local reporters here in Jacksonville did with Jarian Jones that Jones told the new coaching staff, hey, look, I want a chance to play outside corner. And the staff said, well, good, because that's where we have you projected. So he may be an option to start there. What are the likelihood that Hairston will be available at 36 in your opinion, and how good of a fit would he make here?
I think there's a chance. I mean, there's always a couple of guys that people think are going to be first-round picks that fall into the early 30s. I mean, early day 2. That's just what happens. There's not enough first-round spots. So he's one of the guys that could be, if the Rams don't take him or the Vikings in the first round, something like that, he could be available. And look, if you want to play him inside and play Jones outside, I wouldn't complain about that at all. Hairston's got the quickness to play inside. He's a competitive guy. And I think, honestly, there are enough times where you could switch those guys up, play them in different spots, make the defense, instead of, reacting to the offense, make the offense react to the defense and where guys are lined up. So I think he could play inside or outside for Jacksonville easily. Injuries happen all the time at corner, right? So you can never have enough guys that can play inside or outside for your defense. So I think it'd be a great fit for him if he's available.
Yeah, Billy Bowman and Elijah Arroyo to the Jags in the 3rd round. Could Bowman start day 1, do you think? And at which safety position do you think he would slot in?
Well, I think he could play either, but yes, I think he's a guy that he's got plenty of experience. I think he can play, inside, outside, wherever. He's just, again, he ran faster than I expected at the combine, which is a big boon for his draft stock. Tough player, not the tall, he's under 5'11", but look, we've seen Antoine Winfield excel under 5'11". There's plenty of safeties that's played at that height. So I wouldn't count him for starting day 1 wherever they want to play him.
All right, well, let's talk about Arroyo a little bit, just in terms of he had a great postseason kind of run and help elevate his stock. Tell me how he is as a physical presence in the run game, because the Jags are clearly trying to build the tight end room around guys that are not just, like a move tight end type moving off of Evan Ingram. So how does Arroyo stack up in that department?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think you move away from Evan Ingram, and that's fine, but I think you need that guy who's going to be more of a receiving presence, and that's Arroyo. You can bring in Johnny Munt to be a blocker. Hunter Long is getting, pardon the pun, a little long in the tooth at this point, not as, quick as he used to be. If you want him in that more of that role, that's fine. You can find guys a little bit later in the draft as well that can be that number 2 guys to be more of a physical presence as a run blocker. But if you take Arroyo, he's a receiving guy, and he and Brenton Strange can kind of be a 1-2 punch there to give Trevor Lawrence some options as a receiver, and you can find a number 2 guy a little bit later in the draft. With all the picks they have, I nearly had them taking another tight end a little bit later to kind of fill that role as well. But look, Arroyo is not a physical presence in the run game. He's a receiver, and that's fine to take in the 3rd round. Look, a lot of people, I thought Jimmy Graham was like an easy top 50 pick coming out of Miami. People let him slide in the 3rd. I think Arroyo would be a great pick in the 3rd round for the Jags, whatever role he's asked to play.
Projecting into the future a little bit here, in 3 years, who do you think will be the 5 best players from this draft class?
Oh, boy. So I think Travis Hunter, without a doubt, will be. And I think Cam Ward is going to become a really good starter probably by the end of his rookie year, if not immediately. So I'll say those 2 off the top. And for sort of a wild card, I really think that if you're looking for a guy that's going to kind of come out of nowhere, you know what? I think Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, is getting, not enough respect. And he's going to run it. He would run in the mid 4.5s if he ran a 40, and he's probably not going to be a top 10 pick there. But if you just let him be him, play him in zone, let him attack the ball, let him attack his man, I think he's going to be like the Christian Gonzalez, the guy that was really underrated coming out for some reason, and is really going to be a good pro. So it wouldn't shock me if Will Johnson's one of those guys at the top of the class.
One of the arguments against taking Ashton Genty is the depth of this running back class. And in your mock where you had them going Mason Graham early, you had them taking Devin Neal out of Kansas, I believe in the 6th round. Just give me some strengths and weaknesses on Neal and what he would project to be. What's his ceiling in the NFL?
Yeah, I think he's, potential guy who's going to give you 15 carries a game. If nothing else, he's going to be a guy that when an injury happens to one of your top guys, he's going to be able to step in, get the carries, get the tough first downs, occasionally break one off. He's going to be a really good rotational back. Again, not the fastest or most elusive guy ever, but he's tough to tackle in the open field, and I really like what he can give to you as a day 3 guy. Who it wouldn't surprise me if with injuries hit injuries always hit that position. He comes in and is really solid for you when given the opportunity.
We've heard, we even discussed it earlier on the show, Mason Graham being talked about as a safe pick. You went into all the reasons why he may be safe, but that's because he's really good, right? And could do a bunch of different things. Who, in your mind, is the biggest boom or bust prospect in this draft?
Well, I think that award probably goes to Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. Not very productive, 4.5 sacks in 3 years at A&M, mostly because he hasn't been the most nimble guy when he's right in the area of a player. He just hasn't been able to always bring him down, whether it's a quarterback, running back in the backfield. He's got the ability. He's got to get off the line of scrimmage. He's got some athleticism. If you can get him to just be a little smarter in the way he attacks players in the open field, he could be really good. And he's going to play the run really well, so you don't have to take him out on 1st and 2nd down. So if he can just make that next step and become that little bit more, he can be a very, very productive NFL player.
So, Chad, how do you take in the draft? Do you just sit back and watch and root for the selections you made, or like what's the process for you when the draft begins on Thursday?
Well, even though I live 2.5 hours from Green Bay, won't be going to Green Bay this year because to be honest, I just sit in front of my laptop and I'm typing the whole time because I have the snap grades that come out right after the draft. I hand them in 5 minutes after the draft, so I don't really have a lot of time to think about them. Just first impression, draft grades right off the bat. So I'm just typing the whole time, and after it's done, I try to get away from a computer for as much as I can, if possible, for a couple of days. But yeah, that's the way I've been spending the last few drafts, and it's fun to watch it play out.
Well, I'll tell you,
Sounds like he's digging into 2026 on Thursday.
Yes, right. And
I did this morning already.
We'll probably give you a couple of days break, but we love to have you back to review. And we distinctly remember last year raving about how good a selection Cam Little was for the Jags, and that absolutely worked out spectacularly well for them, along with Brian Thomas and several others. But love to have you back to kind of wrap things up once the picks are all put into place. But we certainly appreciate all the time you've given us, Chad, and we encourage folks to go check out your very detailed 7-round mock, not only for the Jags, but for every team in the NFL. So all the best. Enjoy the draft, and hopefully we'll catch up shortly after.
Thanks, guys, for having me on again.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it. Chad Reiter from NFL.com, Tony. And, Chad, nobody knows, right?
No,
Chad _Reiter, by the way, is where you'll find him on social media. REUTER. Just go to NFL.com. By the way, officially, here are the 10 selections he made for the Jags. He had Mason Graham, Maxwell Hairston, who we mentioned, Elijah Arroyo, who we mentioned, Billy Bowman, who we mentioned. Then in round 4, Alec Ayomaner, the wide receiver out of Stanford. A lot of people like that guy. And he felt like there was kind of going to be a run on wide receivers starting in that area. David Walker, who's a very intriguing edge player, played at a smaller school in Central Arkansas. Clay Webb, another small school guard out of Jacksonville State. Devin Neal, who we mentioned, the running back out of Kansas. Linebacker Teddy Buchanan from Cal. And Dominique Lovett out of Georgia. The wide receiver with the final selection in that. Let's come back in hour number 2. Let's get to what Jordan Reed over at ESPN thinks about what could happen all the way through this NFL draft. Our question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. Love to have you weigh in on this one if you haven't already. Simply asks you, who is the player you'd most want the Jags to take with the 5th pick? Assume they can't trade back and Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are gone. Is it Mason Graham? Is it best offensive lineman available? Is it Ashton Jeanty, or is it any other player? And let us know who that player is with a reply if you do go with that option. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Where Jaguars fans find common ground.
Duval till we die.
1010XL.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging? Spring is here, a time to renew. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, here to help you look and feel your best with minimal to no downtime. Rejuvenate your skin, strengthen your core, and sculpt your body with advanced face and body treatments designed to restore your youthful glow and confidence. Just in time for spring and summer. A healthier, more fit you starts now. Visit dermagnify.com and step into spring looking and feeling your best.
What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit cssoutdoor.com.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Anthony. Have you been charged with a crime? You don't have to face it alone. I'm here for you. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me. 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW. in the 904.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Jaguars Today.
Paying rent can feel like throwing money away. And when you're spending so much, it can be hard to see yourself buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is helping you put your monthly rent towards home ownership with Rent Rewards. For the first time, save up to $5,000 off the cost of your first home just by paying rent. Only at Rocket Mortgage. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold and silver and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at almost $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound & Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound & Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL local sports update brought to you by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. It's officially draft week and the Jaguars hold the number 5 overall pick and have a total of 10 selections in the draft, providing ample opportunity to address key areas of need. The team's primary focus is expected to be on bolstering the defense, particularly the interior defensive line and linebacker positions. Stay tuned in to 1010XL for all your draft talk updates. The Orlando Magic fell to the Boston Celtics 103-86 in Game 1 of their first round playoff series yesterday. Magic forward Franz Wagner postgame and being ready in Game 2 for the turnovers.
I think a couple ones were just careless, and then they're pretty much swarming the ball whenever we turn our backs and drive. So we just got to be ready for that in Game 2.
Game 2 is scheduled for this Wednesday at the Garden with tip-off at 7. It's 81 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, now the text line, Tony, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Stop with the Mason Graham push. The Jags have Devon Hamilton, Eric Armstead, and the 2 picks from LSU. There's more of a need at wide receiver or corner than defensive tackle. Well, you could argue
with half of that.
Yeah, I don't think there's more of a need at corner than there is at defensive tackle. How many of those guys played well last year? You know, Mason Smith is a complete wild card.
Yeah, you got a couple of okay games from Mason.
Right, late in the season.
That would be the list.
And fine, you know, like I'm okay if they don't take Mason Graham. I'm guaranteed I have not been pushing Mason Graham.
No.
But to think that he's not in the conversation there at 5, because much like Genty, most people rank him as a top 5 overall player.
Yes.
In this draft. You're picking 5th, you know?
Yeah.
And like I can get it both ways. Defensive tackle's deep, running back's deep.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can make a case for waiting on either one of those spots and going somewhere else if you want. Guess what's not deep? Tackle, offensive tackle, right? Now, doesn't mean you like one of those guys enough to take him at 5. You know, it's got to be a combination of all these things. But to stop at the Mason Graham push, I don't know. I don't know who you think's pushing Mason Graham. It ain't me. That's for sure. I mean, I'd rather go O-line. I'd rather go Genty. I might be equally interested in Jalen Walker and some of these other guys. In fact, man, I don't know about the whole Ted McMillan thing, Tone. I just feel like there's so many diverse opinions on him. It's the only opinions that matter are the brain trust of the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And if they feel that he is a special player and he could be a Mike Evans type, I don't get that sense that he's a Mike Evans type. He's the same kind of body type, same style of receiver. But in what's supposed to be a pretty weak overall receiver class, he's getting pushed to the top. Now, Hunter being in a category by himself, just as a pure receiver, would still be ranked by most people over anybody, maybe by everybody over the rest of the crew. But I don't know, man. You know, so many different opinions. I know this, and this doesn't matter either. What matters is how these guys play, right? So we can all sit here and moan about, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. Hey, if they play well, then we're wrong, right? Yeah. And so, but if you don't want to hear oh man, what are the Jags doing? Take Ted McMillan, and you're going to hear some of that, right? Especially you hear McShay coming out saying, I got him ranked 50th overall. And to consider him at 5, in McShay's opinion, is crazy. Now, what is Todd McShay? You know, I mean, he's just one guy with an opinion. By the way, I wonder if he likes it now. He's gone from being in the suit, you know, for multiple hits every day over ESPN for the last few weeks to, you know, doing a podcast in a hoodie in what looks like a hotel conference room. Yeah. That's what it looked like to me. I'm like, all right, good for you.
Good for you, man. Yeah.
Whatever. We all, you know, we do what we have to do. I'm sure he didn't choose to go down that road. Was Bush Drive Rich wanted us to ask Chad, does he see anyone in the roster being traded during the draft? I mean, I think, look, again, it depends on what they do. Could they trade Devin Lloyd? Does anyone want Devin Lloyd? I don't know. But if they draft Jalen Walker, could they move on from Devin Lloyd? Or if they draft some other combination of players, Carson Schlesinger at 36. That's been a popular name that's been climbing into the conversation for the late first round.
If they do wind up drafting Genty, right?
Right. That he would be an obvious one. But again, what are you going to get for Travis Etienne in a year where everyone feels like there are running backs aplenty?
Yeah.
And you're going to pay this guy in his 5th-year option, which is the most expensive year. Has Travis Etienne shown enough to be an attractive addition to a team and that couldn't just find a guy in the 3rd round and go that route and go get Dylan Sampson?
Like, I can only imagine it if they drafted Genty and he got to day 3 of the draft and there was some team who had their list of their, 8-10 running backs and they were gone.
And they were gone, sure. It could happen.
That's when that kind of thing could happen, but I still wouldn't expect it.
And what do you get then? 6th rounder, 5th rounder.
Yeah, I think that's what you get for either of those guys.
I mean, I think they'd probably take a 5th rounder.
In that situation, probably.
Yeah, something like that. All right, let's take a look at what Jordan Reed over at ESPN did for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He knocked out a 7-rounder, so why not, Tone? And in this one, he's got the Patriots going Will Campbell. So the Jags have the choice of Genty, Graham, the usual suspects. They go Graham. Heavy-handed, disruptive presence in the middle. 7.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 26 pressures last season. Consistent nuisance for opposing offenses. Let's draft a nuisance. As Prosser said this morning, do we want to draft a guy who hasn't had a sack since last October? I mean, that's what he is, you know, and I get it. Sacks are not the only determining factor for these guys. And they were talking about if you knew you were getting, who was Ed Oliver, right? Mm-hmm. Ed Oliver had a really good year the year before last, but Ed Oliver, I thought, was a disappointment for his first several years in the league, Tone. He had 5 sacks his rookie season, then he had 3, then he had 4, then he had 2.5, and was always kind of talked about as just a guy who hadn't quite lived up to it. And then in his 5th year with the team, he broke out with 9.5 sacks. Mm-hmm. And again, sacks aren't the only statistic that you're going to judge these guys on.
But this is a year where I think you might have to settle for that. Right?
Yeah,
like,
well,
this draft.
Take some other position.
Right. Like, it is what it is. He went 9th overall, by the way, at Oliver. He didn't go 5th, but he did go in the top 10. He went 9th overall
and I would think most people would, if they really looked at what he's done, would say he was not anywhere close to a 9th top 10 productive player out of that draft.
Not, but he's playing at approaching the kind of levels that they talked about when they drafted him now.
That for 1 year he did in 2023. Then this year he fell back to 3 sacks. I mean, he's an okay player.
Yeah. In a draft of, Josh Hines-Allen went 7th that year, right? So the Jags aren't complaining about what they got in the draft that year, but it's different drafts are different.
I get it.
TJ Hawkinson went 1 pick ahead of him.
Yeah.
Devin Bush went right after him.
Not worth it. I get it.
Right. And then even before that, Daniel Jones, Devin White, Cleveland Farrell.
Devin White was a all-pro level player, and then something happened. I don't know what happened with him.
Quentin Williams, then the top 2 were Kyler Murray and Nick Bosa. Right? So even in that top 10 that year, you had 6 players that you're like, eh.
I get it. But
that's pretty typical in the draft.
My point being, though, if you're saying this is, hey, if we get Ed Oliver, should be excited. I don't think so. Even in this draft, that's all I'm saying. That's not an exciting. I feel like Ed Oliver has not lived up to top 10 billing.
Who are these offensive linemen being compared to?
I'm not sure.
Right. Are they being compared to top of?
Will Campbell's not being compared to Joe Thomas, if that's what you're asking. Nobody's saying that he's that.
That's I get the comparison to Ed Oliver doesn't make you go, wow. But I haven't heard the comparisons for the offensive linemen at all, right, in this draft. And I don't know what they would be.
Yeah, I don't either. And comps are funny things, too. A lot of times it has to do with style of play, not necessarily expected production. So I don't know. Look, we know what the comps for Genty are, and they're off the charts, right? Maybe 2
Hall of Famers
pumped up. It's interesting, though, because, and I do understand the argument, Ashton Genty played against lower-level competition on a week-by-week basis. Occasionally stepped up in class, Oregon, Penn State last year.
I'm looking at Will Campbell, by the way. At least on NFL.com, they have him compared to Taylor Decker and Bernard Raymond.
Yeah. Right, but you're going to find that with just about every position, I think, this year. But
absolutely, it's this draft. Yeah.
What was I saying a second ago?
I didn't catch it.
Something about linemen comparing them.
Just went right out of my head right now.
Sorry, I disrupted it.
It's all right. It'll come back to me. And now we got to think. What was I just saying? Just 1 second ago. Can't think of it. Dylan will rewind it on the break, and it'll refresh my memory. Honest to God, it just went right out of my head. But it was something about who the players are being compared to. I'll dig it out of my memory banks, and we'll get into that when we come back. We got to get to this Jordan Reed mock. Tony will take us around the league. All that coming up. We'll take a break here, and I'll try to rattle my brain. I'll shake that tree to see if an Easter egg falls out of it, Dylan. That
golden egg.
Probably be as likely.
Limbo, by the way, is Zach Tom. It's the player comparison.
I don't even know who's that
I don't
comp.
know who that is.
I don't either. It wasn't about that necessarily. But anyway, we'll come back. More Jaguar discussion. Let us know who you would like to see them select at 5. If you assume Hunter and Carter are gone, you can't trade back. Is it Graham? Is it Genty? Is it best O-lineman? Is it somebody else? Tell us who that would be. That is your Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
Tell me, do you remember anything?
Happiness. And you know what happiness is? Happiness
is 1010XL.
Okay, good tip.
When you think of America, you think baseball, cookouts, military, and pride for our country. At Garber Auto Mall, we're proud to carry every American-made truck at one location. Ford, Chevy, GMC, Ram, and Jeep. With the largest inventory selection in North Florida, you can shop with one salesperson. Garber Auto Mall is proud to support our country, our military, and our community. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. Garber Auto Mall. Proud to be American.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
It's a Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball is home this week at the newly renovated Five Star Ballpark. The Jumbo Shrimp take on the AAA Atlanta Braves. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday and Fireworks Friday and Saturday. Baseball all weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable, family fun.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and side exciting.
All right, fellas, I got to brag a little. I'm down 40 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss and keeping it off.
That's cute, Matt. I'm down 110 pounds. That's like losing a Backstreet Boy.
Okay, so I'm the rookie here. I just started, but I'm already down 13 pounds, and let me tell you, it feels good to see the results already.
That's the thing, man. Awaken 180 works. No shots, no meds, no gimmicks, just real food, real support, and real results.
The support team is a game changer because we all know it's so easy to get distracted. But with Awaken 180, you get your own coach and a plan that works with your lifestyle.
And free support for life.
Plus, no gym workouts required, which is great because let's be honest, I wasn't running wind sprints either.
25, 40, even 110 pounds. If we all can do it, so can you. Call 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com.
That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
1010XL is presented by Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, thanks to Dylan rewinding what I said. I remembered what I said only because I heard what I said. I was leaning towards talking about mentioning Genty. A knock against him is the level of competition.
Yeah.
And that's legitimate. I get it. So I decided, because the big stat with him is more yards after contact than any other Division I running back had yards, right? And so you look, all right, Omarion Hampton had like 1,600 yards rushing. Genty had 1,700 after contact.
Yep.
Oh, but Hampton probably plays a much tougher schedule. Good gosh, no.
Not in the ACC
last year. It was horrendous, the schedule that he played. And so he put up numbers against competition I don't honestly think was much more stout than the teams that Genty was playing in terms of run. FSU, Omarion Hampton went crazy, had 3 touchdowns, huge day. They were ranked in the triple digits in terms of run defenses, right? You compare that to like Oregon, who Genty played against. He went for like 185 and 3 touchdowns. So there is... I do believe the evaluators have to take that into account, and they're looking at what this guy's capable of doing and trying to project him. And I don't know. He just doesn't strike me as a guy that all of a sudden is going to get to the NFL and get exposed.
I don't think the NFL is going to be a brick wall for him.
I don't think so. But, hey, then again, I'm not a GM. I'm not a scout. That's the way I feel about it. But that was the point I wanted to make. Like when you're, all right, yes, you want to downgrade Genty and say we can wait on one of these other backs. Well, who do these backs do it against, and how productive were they doing it there? Anyway, just a part of the overall picture. Let's get Eric and Oakleaf up here. Tony will take us around the league after that. Eric, you're on Jaguars Today. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good. What's up, man?
I think if Travis and Adore is gone and we got the 5th pick, I think we got to go get that receiver out of Arizona. Only because I feel like that's the biggest hole that we need to get some foundation, because besides Brian Thomas, we really don't got no other weapon. I understand the Dempsey theory, but I feel like with the success of Irving and the other back in Tampa, I feel like Liam, he could get Etienne back in that mode again, because last year he was pretty banged up. And the O-line wasn't good as well. So those two things will show up, and it's like a progress. But I think you got to go with that receiver from Arizona, him and BTJ, and that'd be a nice 1-2 combo.
All right, that's fair. You're probably not the only one, Eric. No. Appreciate you weighing in.
I think I would agree that it would be a fantastic 1-2 combo. Like, I love the idea of Ted McMillan playing opposite of Brian Thomas Jr. It's why I had him where I had him.
Love him at 10 after we trade back with the Bears.
Right, like that kind of thing. But at 5, that thought process has changed for me.
I just think Ted McMillan versus Genty. You want a weapon, who's going to impact your team in a more positive way? I think it's Genty.
I do too.
I just do. And, granted, do we have a kind of a hole opposite Brian Thomas Jr.? In my opinion, yes.
I think it's my highest priority going into the draft. Is whatever that other wide receiver is going to be.
By the way, Demetrius Harvey, I like a lot of the picks he made in his mock for the Jaguars that I think he posted it Friday. Tone from the Florida Times-Union. He went Mason Graham with pick 5. Went Carson Schlesinger. We talked about him with Demetrius on Friday. And that is a guy who is absolutely rising. And he says it's almost crazy to suggest the Jags need to draft a linebacker after taking one in the first round a few years ago and drafting a couple more along the way. Still, that's where the team is at with Devin Lloyd entering the final year of his rookie deal. I mean, you want a signal. If you wanted a smokescreen, Tone, it would be Jags don't pick up the 5th-year option, and they fully intend to after the draft. Like, that would be a smokescreen. Like, we're not going to tell you what our intention is with Devin Lloyd. And maybe you think we're going to take a linebacker early. You never know, right? I mean,
yeah.
But that makes more sense to me than that they're smoke screening on Ashton Genty when they've given no hint on their interest level of Ashton Genty other than to probably say, hey, he's a very talented player.
Sure.
So Schlesinger in the 2nd round. Jack Besh, this is who I want. At pick 70, I know you're comfortable with him at 36. If you get Besh at 70, I already like Demetrius' mock, even if I might not take a linebacker with pick 36. Kevin Winston is a safety that I've got a lot of good positive feeling towards as well out of Penn State, going pick 88. He goes Jackson Slater, a guard out of Sacramento State. I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about him as far as that goes. But, day 3 pick. Doesn't have to start right away. R.J. Harvey, the running back out of UCF. And then Demetrius says maybe the Jags won't draft Ashton Genty unless, and if they don't, he'd be a nice consolation prize, 5'8", 205, whereas Irving's 5'9", 192. I guess we're talking about Bucky Irving in the comparison. And that's the one thing, that just got brought up by Eric in terms of what Bucky Irving did. He did it behind a better offensive line.
Yeah.
Now, granted, even though the Jags have worked on improving this offensive line, I think Genty is capable of getting a lot more. Look, there's so many ways it could go. Absolutely. A 4th round, 5th round running back? Sure. I don't think that's off the table at all. Noel Williams out of Cal, man, he is a guy I love mocking to the Jags in the 5th round, the corner. But I hear a lot of, he's going to go in the 3rd. And might be a steal in the 3rd round. So not counting on him. Ahmed Hassanein, there's your Boise State player. He's an edge player out of Boise State, if I'm saying his name right. I'll be honest with you. I don't know a whole lot about him. Kyle McCord, I can't see him lasting to the 6th round in this. I think 3rd round, he'll probably be off the board is my guess. The quarterback out of Syracuse. And then Luke Lachey out of Iowa. This feels a lot like some of the mocks that I've done.
Yeah.
I love Lachey as that. Like, Elijah Arroyo, if he really doesn't give you anything as a physical presence, I don't think the Jags are spending the 70th pick on a tight end.
I don't either.
Who's an Evan Ingram type. I mean, and for this team, there are, yes, do they need another guy who can be more dynamic in the passing game? But, like, take a Lachey then in the 7th or 6th round. If you can do that, they seem to have a type that they're looking for at tight end. I think Terrence Ferguson's interesting when you get in that range. I don't know if you saw speculation, or I forget who I was looking at. Was it Jeremiah or might have been Schefter, that Harold Fannin out of Boston College is like when the scouts, position scouts, travel to these places, he said he's become the consensus favorite tight end of a lot of these scouts, and that wouldn't be a shock to see him go in the 2nd round. Crazy productive at Boston College last year. But I don't think he's the type of tight end that fits with what the Jags are profiling.
No, I don't think they're going to be spending any of their first 4 picks. I think it would surprise me if they got a move tight end.
A move tight end, yes. Like Terrence Ferguson, I think is kind of in that category where you could see him being enough of a two-way guy.
Like
there are
Fannin is just not the profile.
I'm not sure I see it in Gunnar Helm either. You're right. You see him mocked to the Jags a lot in the 4th round now out of Texas.
Yeah.
And reading scouting reports on him, I think he's got a ton of work to do to become a guy you would trust playing all three downs for what the Jags are trying to accomplish on offense. All right, why don't we do this? Let's go around the league and see what's cooking with the other 31 NFL teams.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston is re-signing tight end Irv Smith Jr. Speaking of re-signing, the Philadelphia Eagles and center Cam Jurgens have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $68 million extension with $39.4 million guaranteed. Quarterback Jackson Dart, who was announced as one of the 3 quarterbacks that would be attending the draft this week, with Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe being the other 2, will no longer be attending the draft. No reason was given for his changing his mind about being at the event. Seattle reportedly is interested and has received some inquiries regarding trading backup quarterback Sam Howell. New York Jets general manager Darren Muge said this morning that the Jets will be picking up the 5th-year options on corner Sauce Gardner, wide receiver Garrett Wilson, and linebacker Jermaine Johnson II. And former Jaguars wide receiver Justin Blackmon was arrested in Oklahoma this weekend for public intoxication.
Oh, he looked all kinds of puffy, man.
He looked awful.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, just what can you do? He's a grown-up. You know, hope for the best like you would for anybody else at this point. Love to get more votes on this. Who's the player that you would most want the Jags to select with the 5th pick in this draft coming up on Thursday night? That's assuming that they can't trade back and Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are off the board. Anybody else? Is it Mason Graham? Is it best O-lineman? And you can project whomever you like at O-line to be available there. Is it Ashton Genty? Is it somebody other than those players? Let us know. It's your Chad and Sandy real estate question today. Do we really only have one segment left today?
We do.
Man, it feels like this is going to be how the week goes. Tomorrow, top 5, be thinking about it. The 5 players you'd like to see the Jags draft at some point in this NFL draft, and you can give the specifics of when you'd like to see that occur within reason. I'd like them to get Genty with pick 221 personally, Tony. I don't think that's very realistic. However, so we'll do that tomorrow. We've got a lot coming your way as we march towards the draft. Right now, our guest list of invites, and they're not all locked in yet for Thursday on actual draft day. We want to hear live from Hayes Carline, Frank Frangie, Tony Pauline, Demetrius Harvey, John Shipley, of course, our man D-Rock, and Jamal St. Cyr. That's going to be the requested line. Everybody popping in 5 to 7 minutes. Give us their last-minute thoughts on it. Got the media mock draft coming up Wednesday as well. So, and D-Rock will be selecting for the Jaguars in that one early in the program. We'll have a lot to do. Where's the countdown, Tony? 80 hours and 31 minutes right now. It has begun. All right, the countdown continues. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. It has begun.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Hear the big moments and game-changing plays.
That is another pick six. Touchdown Jacksonville.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida. Be a Big.
If Liam Cohen is looking to replicate what he had in Tampa Bay with a pair of talented receivers, the 6'4" Ted McMillan would be amazing to pair with Brian Thomas Jr. McMillan is a possession receiver with the size and ball skills to create big wins deep. He also has a knack for adjusting his routes and working back on throws, which would certainly make Trevor Lawrence's job a whole lot easier.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and Lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Jaguars Today.
It's a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
If you're heading to the Og or you're already part of the nation's oldest, don't forget to drop into Sunset Grill. For over 30 years, serving up great chowder, seafood, wings, and cold beer. Sunset Grill, somewhere on A1A, St. Augustine Beach.
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Abdul Carter would be a tremendous pick if he falls to the Jaguars at 5. The former Nittany Lion got pressure on 18.5% of his pass rushes last season, helping him register 12 sacks and 23.5 tackles for loss. His ability to play off the ball and off the edge will draw comparisons to Micah Parsons, and that would be a welcome addition to the teal and black arsenal already on the edge that features Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
1010XL covers every angle of the draft.
That is what I do.
Listen for draft previews brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Big Brothers Big Sisters. Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey man, what's that noise?
Do you hear it too? You can hear it, right?
Yeah, it's your air conditioner. It's like a grinding or a rattling.
And it's getting on your nerves, right? Like it's eating at your brain and you can't think straight, but it just keeps grinding and squeaking and taunting and nagging. You're not good enough. You're a failure. Why can't you be more like your sister, the lawyer?
Yeah, I don't hear that last part so much.
Yeah, but it's not cool, right, Jason?
It could definitely be cooler. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we can totally repair whatever that noise is and get your AC working smoothly and silently. We fix these things all the time.
So I won't be a failure?
Life should be enjoyed. If some irritating, broken air conditioner is making you crazy, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mosquitoes show up, they are a buzzkill. You want them out of your yard, and fast. At Terminix, they know that mosquitoes bite, but not for long. They'll provide regular treatments to protect you and your family all season long. Go ahead and schedule that picnic, because when mosquitoes show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a mosquito problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, I will be glad, Tony, when it's over, just because, all this, is it Graham, is it Genty? Let's figure out who that is. And then, even though we've efforted to discuss the other 9 picks, you can't. Outside of 36, it's total projection. You don't even know who's going to be there at 36, but you certainly don't know who's going to be available at 70. So it's hard. We know players we'd like to have in that range, but, we'll have a much better sense of what the vision is for this organization and this front office after this week, after Saturday, to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Haven't seen a mock draft yet where Graham goes before 5. Nationally, everyone wants to shoehorn the above-average player to the lowly Jags. I've actually seen a few where he goes in the top 4. Saw one recently where he went to New England. I don't think it's you're right, the person who sent this text in that it's very infrequent, and you may not have seen one. I have seen one or two, but it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like people are trying to figure out who is that third non-quarterback that is going to entice the Patriots or the Giants, for that matter. As you heard Chad Ryder say, Tone, don't be shocked if the Giants go that way. I mean, they did realize probably in hindsight what they gave up in Saquon Barkley.
Well, I think it's funny. I'm with you. I don't think they're wrong necessarily that, everyone's kind of pigeonholing Mason Graham to the Jags and they describe it as an above average player. It's like, well, who do you think is the star that they said no to? Right? Like, who do you have as a star, considering virtually every player ranking you see will have Mason Graham 4, Jalen Walker 5. Not the offensive lineman.
Right.
Right? And I get it if the offensive lineman is what you want, and I don't think that's nuts. But you would be, from the perspective of virtually everyone who's doing these lists of the player rankings, taking the above-average player at 5 because it's the position you prefer, which is fine.
And that's if we agree with the consensus of the rankings. And the only people that need to agree with anything are Gladstone, Cohen, and Baselli.
Absolutely.
Really, Gladstone at the tip of that spear when it comes to player procurement.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not all that crazy. If Mason Graham, who's in virtually every top 5 ranking that you see, if you're looking at the Jaguars at 5 and you say, look, they could use a defensive interior guy. They did nothing on that side of the ball in free agency.
Absolutely.
Like, there's a bunch of reasons why it would make sense for the Jags to have some reason to draft Mason Graham at 5. Like, I am so far away from I don't understand it. With Mason Graham.
It's not that at all.
I get it. I'm in support of it at 5. I would rather have Genty, but I'm in support of Mason Graham being the pick at 5.
I'm okay with it. I just don't, I'm not doing backflips over it kind of thing. I just think
Genty's the only guy that's going to get me to do a backflip at this
Genty
point
would
at 5.
excite me the most. I'm not 100% convinced that's the right pick for this team, and that's the thing. I'm probably not going to be 100% convinced anything until we see how their careers go, right? Then we'll know who the right pick.
I'd be intrigued by Jalen Walker. I'd be like, oh, that's interesting.
I would too.
One of the offensive linemen would be like, all right, let me hear where you want to play him. Okay.
I don't know if I'm sure you heard what Daniel Jeremiah said, that the Jags are trying to make this kind of like a statement pick, and they're all about football character and setting a tone for this organization. He goes, to me, that screams 2 players. That's Genty and Jalen Walker. That's what Jeremiah thinks. Look, I'm
it's
just
a weird
going.
One. Like, Mason Graham's not an intangibles guy?
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm just telling you what Jeremiah said. That he feels like this is a building block football character pair of guys that he thinks what the Jags have said publicly are signaling that those two guys make the logical sense.
I'm just surprised that he wouldn't include Mason Graham in that, considering everything written about him is he excels in exactly the football character stuff.
Sure.
Like, that's where he excels. The all-effort, 100%, every snap, hair's on fire kind of player, after the play, chasing it down like he is that kind of guy.
Owns Jaguar workout gear.
He does.
Check. All right. All right, let's go through Jordan Reed's mock for the Jags. Got Mason Graham sitting there, heavy-handed, disruptive presence in the middle, Tony. And the addition of Graham with Josh Hines, Allen, Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead potentially give the Jags a top-level defensive line. Again, is Mason Graham a nose tackle? I know we've had people say he could play either. Tony Pauline, I think, says he could play either. And
Chad Ryder said it earlier today. Yeah.
Right, and Tony brought up like the idea of Jags taking Graham and then Walter Nolan available and taking him too at 36, which would be kind of crazy. Now, oddly enough, I'd be more excited about that because you're getting, you're trying to just make an identity for this football team. All right, so let's look through here quickly. Yeah. He's got Genty going 6, by the way. He's got Emeka Egbuka. You and I would both sign up for that right now.
So fast.
Right? I mean, there are other cornerbacks. By the way, interestingly enough, one spot ahead of Maxwell Hairston who Ryder had going to the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
Spot ahead then of Donovan Jackson. Another spot ahead of Travian Henderson. Siobhan Revelle. I'm not a Siobhan Revelle guy. He may be great, but
he got him going where?
He had Siobhan Revelle going 37, 30, okay. 40th. Okay. You know, I'm just reading the immediate picks afterwards here. All right, so had him going there with the Mecca Igbuka at 70. Noel Williams out of Cal. See, perfect example right there, right? We saw Demetrius had him in the 5th. I can get him in the 5th, too. If I go to Pro Football Network, I'll throw another 7-round mock out there, probably get him in the 5th. This is odd, though. It says, Jags added Jordan Lewis and Eric Murray, but still need outside corners.
Murray.
I mean, we get to the secondary, I guess he's saying, but still need outside corners. Neither one of those is an outside corner based on what they. So I guess he's saying these are additions to the secondary.
Okay.
Neither one of which is an outside corner. Williams had more interceptions last year than the Jaguars.
It's a low bar.
I mean, but 7's pretty good for a collegiate. 7 to 6. My gosh. All right, that's pick 70. Then he's got Dylan Sampson. See, now that I can get behind. Dylan Sampson's been my mid-round running back guy this entire cycle. And, you know, if that were the case, if I knew I'm getting Dylan Sampson at 88, I'd probably go Mason Graham. You know what I mean? It is the combination of players you think you can get. And people say, well, its running back class is so deep. But that doesn't mean they're going to have them all. Oh, it's deep. But the guy you get in round 5 isn't going to be as good as the guy you get in round 2.
No.
Or you take him in round 2, right? So, anyway, Dylan Sampson, I would like that. So far, we got Graham. We got Igbuka. We got a corner in Noel Williams. And we've got a running back in Sampson. 107, goes Billy Bowman, who Chad Ryder had going, I think, at 88, pick, right? Yeah. So this is a 4th-round selection here. Then he's got Gunnar Helm. We mentioned him. I've been starting to see that connection with the Jags in the middle rounds. I think people are looking at it like, well, there's no obvious pass-catching weapon there. Brenton Strange may develop into that. By the way, got to say, Chad Ryder, I don't know where he was coming from in the Hunter Long's getting long in the tooth thing. Hunter Long's 26 years old, coming off his rookie deal. He's not getting long in the tooth. But when we bring up the style of tight end, none of us here is suggesting that Johnny Munt and Hunter Long are going to catch more than 20 passes combined.
No.
If that, for this football team. So I just like the fact that they got him to do the Luke Farrell job at the cost of Luke Farrell. They got both of those guys, basically, is the way it turned out. All right, so Gunnar Helm, the Texas tight end at 126. 5th round, Savion Jones. This is a guy that we mock to the Jags, I think, a lot. If you wait on edge, he's one of the more intriguing guys. He's a bigger guy, I believe, Tony, if I'm not mistaken. He's more of a, 6'6", 280. So this is not just your small guy you bring in on 3rd down. This is a developmental guy that, yes, you're going to bring in on 3rd down, but maybe with an eye towards being a full-time defensive end somewhere down the line at a LSU. That's the round 5 selection. Again, this is Jordan Reed over at ESPN. Just put this out this morning. Eugene Asante, linebacker out of Auburn, with pick 182. And then Justin Wally, a corner out of Minnesota. Don't know a whole lot about him. At 194. And then finally at 221, Riley Leonard, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. As we mentioned to a caller earlier, the idea that, Riley Leonard, sure, you want to draft a developmental quarterback in the 7th round if he's sitting there?
Makes sense.
Fine.
Yeah.
I would be no less. I'm not going to be surprised if the Jags pass on quarterback entirely in this draft.
No.
What I would be shocked at is if the Jags spent a pick in the first 3 rounds on the quarterback position.
I'd be mad.
Yeah. Waste of resources here.
I'd be mad.
Just wouldn't make any sense, especially everything that they've said. And I don't anticipate needing to be mad.
No.
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think, if you got a 2nd round grade on a guy and you can get him in the 4th round and you know the value of the quarterback position and guys get hurt, I'll understand that a little bit more, especially if they tell us that. Hey, we took Kyle McCord. We had him, as a top 75 player, and we got him at 107 or whatever. Okay. Right. I'll understand that a little bit. I don't think whether they like it or not, they're committed. They knew it when they took the job. That's kind of part of the job description, to become the next head coach and general manager in Jacksonville. Accept the reality that for the next 3 years, you're tied to Trevor Lawrence at a minimum, right? And, by the way, if Hunter Long is long in the tooth, Trevor's not far behind, man. Come on, mid-20s. Will Trevor be 26 when the season kicks off?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. I don't know, Tone. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. I'm at this point now, like I don't want it to be Tet McMillan. I almost would rather Tyler Warren over Tet McMillan because I would understand the vision. Some people do rank Tyler Warren as a top 5 player in this draft. I wouldn't be, I'd rather have Mason Taylor at 36 than I would Tyler Warren at 5. That's a guy who's supposedly rising up, according to everybody. Mason Taylor out of LSU right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. You bring up the Tyler Warren, Tet McMillan thing. I think because of how well I think Tet would fit, what they need opposite BTJ, I would be going, why are we going this direction? I would get it from like a fit perspective. I'd be excited about what he could potentially do.
You're talking about Warren?
Yeah, no.
McMillan.
Like opposite Brian Thomas Jr. Like I would get it. I'd be surprised if that's the direction they went with it. But I'd probably, if I was choosing between those two options, I would choose Tet McMillan over Tyler Warren for what I think this team actually needs. At this point in time, Tet would fit that for me better than Tyler Warren would.
Somebody asked which bulky failed pick will this staff be able to turn around and salvage? God, man, I mean, that's too many to choose from right now, right?
Well, yeah, if you're pro passing on Mason Graham, you better hope it's Mason Smith.
That would be an excellent one, right? And, if it works out that way, I don't know, man. Miles Cole, that'd be great too, right?
Vaughn Foster.
Plenty of guys. Maybe it would. I'm going to say no to that one. I say no to that, but that pick just goes to show you how important it is to have everybody operating on the Scam Likely calling me again, Tony.
Good old Scam. He
They're
gets
interested
around.
in the property you don't have.
Left the ringer on. Yeah, everyone who doesn't work for Netflix, by the way, tells me to send me my Netflix payment information for some reason. They're trying to help Netflix out, I think. I've been getting a lot of those lately. All right, that'll wrap it up for us today. Thanks again to Chad Ryder from NFL.com, and we'll turn over the baton to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
LB, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. So I think
morning.
we need to practice our handoffs with the baton.
Yeah, well, I don't care. Because once you pick it up and run with it, it's up to you. That's on you now. I've run my leg. Okay? Team player here.
I mean, I've heard Dylan, the track coach, say, you got to practice those handoffs.
Every day.
Yeah, every day.
So,
yes.
Who do you want at 5?
Ashton Genty.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that when you're talking about offenses that are successful in the NFL, you're looking at offenses that can run the football. Plain and simple.
Okay. I'm great. I think there are a lot of ways to attack. I just think Ashton Genty, I'll say I'd be most excited about that pick. I'm not convinced it's the best pick, because I'm not going to tell you I know more than James Gladstone, yet to be proven, right? We'll find out how good he is. Because we all think we know more than Bulky, right? For everyone, he's a GM. He's not. Well, some dumb GMs that make some dumb picks. Let's hope we didn't hire one, right? I don't know. This whole Mason Graham is a double, and we don't want to strike out. Is that the bold first pick that this regime? Let's be careful.
Right.
Let's be safe. I mean, Gladstone said yes. This is kind of a regime-defining selection, and we're well aware of that.
Absolutely.
And do we want to define it by going, let's be safe?
Right.
That makes me think less likely Mason Graham, him saying that, than maybe anything that we've talked about in this cycle.
Yeah, I do wonder if the player that has been mentioned a lot but hasn't been linked to the Jags as much as, say, Mason Graham, now Ashton Genty certainly, is Jalen Walker. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very intangibly rich, obviously out of Georgia. Is that going to be the pick come Thursday night? And, how does he help the defense? That's not, like you said, it's not as sexy of a pick as Ashton Genty, but certainly he could do some really good things with.
More and more people are ranking him as a top 5 overall player.
Right.
And Daniel Jeremiah, Tony and I were just talking about it. Said what the Jags are preaching spells Genty and Walker.
Right.
That's the two players that seem to fit everything that we're hearing discussed there.
Yeah, this is Peter Schrager from last night. The two guys who have won the interview process and are universally beloved as people in addition to their playing ability. Jalen Walker, Emeka Egbuka. Obviously, we'd love to have
I've heard
Emeka.
a ton about Egbuka being
Sure.
just a pro's pro.
Absolutely.
And all this crap. Shut up. Do something wrong. We want him at 36. I don't need a...
The
him
more
going
and
at
more you hear about
22.
him, it's like he's not getting out.
I know.
No, he's not. And we talked about this last week, that run on receivers might start coming in the late teens, mid-20s. Like the Texans, I wouldn't be surprised if they take a receiver at 25 and then, 36 seems like a long way down from there.
Texans lost Diggs and obviously Tank Dell. They've got Kirk for 1 year. And, they opposite Nico. They definitely need help there.
But yeah, do the Jaguars trade back into the first round for a guy like Egbuka? I'd love to see it.
Yeah, but, what's the cost?
Right.
How much better is he than Besh or any, Higgins or any number of options?
Yeah.
That's, we could sit here and spin the perfect draft narrative 5 different ways.
But aren't you just so glad it's finally here this week?
I am. No,
Me
I am.
too.
I do love it, but I am glad it's here.
Sure.
I'm ready to dig into it. So, there are questions that you would vote for Genty.
I would.
Who's the player you'd most want the Jags to select? So far right now, 51% saying Genty, 28% saying Graham, best O-lineman 16.5%, and only 4.4% saying anyone else, including Walker, Warren, you name them.
If the Jaguars hadn't signed 4 offensive linemen in free agency, I would be leaning much more towards offensive tackle there at 5.
You could also argue, though, that some of those guys they sign could be an indication that they don't think very much about their tackles.
Right.
And if this is a weak tackle class, the feeling is you better get one early or you're not going to get one. And some people think there's going to be a run on tackles as well by the end of the first round. There's not going to be somebody worth taking at 36 if you wanted to go that route.
Right, because 6'6" and 320 pounds and athletic and powerful, that's not available all the time. So yeah, I understand if they pick an offensive lineman, then that's the message they're sending is they need to protect Trevor at all costs, and I can certainly understand that as well. By the way, at 12:20, we have Pat Bryant II joining us. I want the Jaguars to draft him. I'm not exactly sure where. Receiver out of Illinois.
Receiver. Yeah, I know who he is.
Yep, at Atlantic Coast High School here. So
I didn't know he went to Atlantic Coast, but I've mocked him, I think, twice in the last 3 weeks. To
Excellent.
The Jags. So there you go.
You'll get to hear
6th
from him.
round.
Perfect. At 12:20.
Something like that. All right.
Yeah,
We'll
I've
look
seen
forward
5th.
to it.
Seen 5th round.
Look, that's the other thing. We don't know.
No.
Like 2
We're
box scores
flying
looked at.
blind.
Noel Williams to the Jags in the 5th. Noel Williams to the Jags in the 3rd. Which is it?
Sure.
When's he going to be available?
Like Jason Marshall for the Gators. I've seen
I
as
used to-
high as 4. I've seen as late as 7.
I
as
used
far as
to
the
mock
rounds.
him regularly in the 7th round of the Jags because, corner, athletic, and all these things. So who knows? All right. Have a great show.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a great day.
We will be listening to everything Helmets and Heels puts out there with Lauren Brooks in her Jaguar print dress today, Tony. Very appropriate for this week. All right. Everybody, back at it again tomorrow. Tuesday, top 5. Who are 5 players you'd like to see the Jags draft? Don't have to be all targets at number 5. Don't have to be any targets at number 5. Just 5 guys
you'd like to see wearing a Jaguars uniform.
Who's your wish list coming out of this draft this year? All right. That'll do it for us. Thanks again to Chad Ryder for joining the program. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Guess what? More draft talk tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all week long. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.